Oh my gosh, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. In fact, I can't believe it's Wednesday. I hope those of you who are watching us from the Righteous Rebels Facebook group, from LinkedIn, or maybe also from YouTube, that it's an amazing Wednesday for you because it is for us. Not that it doesn't come with its ups and downs, but isn't that how we want life to be anyway, right? Otherwise, flatline. That's not very fun. So today we're doing live and unscripted, and we're going to do a little bit of a Tobermory recap as well as giving you a sneak peek into what's coming up for you in June and in August. So we're going to start how we always start by giving you just a quick description, especially if you're new to live and unscripted, about what this is all about. So several years ago, I started a podcast called Living Courageously Exposed. And, I didn't love some of the stuff that came along with it. And I just felt like I wanted to do it differently. I just wanted to have real conversations with people without all of the cleaning up of sound and production end of it. I'm such a believer in just like real raw life and living. And that when we can be that way, we open the doors for other people to be that way. And that life becomes a little smoother when you know that there are other people out there having similar experiences as you are. So I created these live and unscripted interviews where I just would meet somebody and say, hey, oh my gosh, I think you're really cool and that you have a cool story and you want to get on a live chat with me. And most of the time I didn't know them except for maybe a quick like 15-minute conversation. And we would come on here and we would basically get to know each other on camera as strangers, and you got to watch the process of how quickly people can become friends. Not to mention all of the yummy nuggets that have come from these beautiful conversations. Live and Unscripted is a platform where we let inspiration be the guide. We really try to lead with heart, and we speak what's real about our lives. I start with one question, and then we just let it take off from there. So there are also times when I don't have a guest and we just come on and we talk about, especially now that Leah has joined the Righteous Rebels clan, and we just come on and we just have conversations about what's going on in the Righteous Rebels, or what's going on in our own learning that we feel like is valuable for you, that it might have some yummy nuggets
Yummy.
that you can chew on for yourself. I have no idea what I just said. And I don't care.
That's the best part of it.
Oh my gosh, that's like the loveliest part of it, is that we get to come on and just be real and make mistakes, and it just doesn't matter because that's life. That's life, and we get to just learn to roll with it and realize that we're okay. We're a-okay. So today, we're gonna start how we always do, and that is with just simple breathing for about 60 seconds, maybe 90, where it just gives us, you and I, the opportunity to let go of everything that's happened already today, and we can let go of what we think or what we have planned to happen in the rest of the day, and we can just be right here, right now, with each other in this present moment. So today we're just going to do let's just do simple box breathing, which is breathing in through your nose for a 4 to 5 count, maybe 6 if that works for you. And then you're going to hold that inhale, same counts, exhale through your mouth, same counts, holding that exhale, same counts. Today, I'm just going to let you do what you want to do with the breathing. If you just want to breathe, go ahead and breathe. If you want to breathe in positive when you breathe in and let it soak down, then go ahead and do that, and exhale anything that feels uncomfortable or uneasy inside of your body as you exhale. So as you do this, I'm going to invite you to do it with downward gaze or closed eyes, whichever is most comfortable for you. And we'll do the first one together. So let's go ahead and take the eye position that worked for you. We're going to breathe in through our nose. We're going to hold that inhale. Notice what it feels like, and then release it through your mouth. emptying out those lungs, holding that exhale, again, noticing how it feels. And then just repeat that cycle. Let's do 3 cycles on your own. All right, go ahead and finish up whatever cycle you're in. And when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes. How does that feel? I don't know about you, right? Lee just took another big deep breath. I know when I get on here, I get so excited and my energy is excited and I just want to get going and share all the good stuff with you. And it just gives me a moment to just exhale and to actually, I can feel the clothes on my body. I can feel myself, like how it sits in the chair, and I can feel today I actually really felt my lungs as they were expanding and releasing the air that I had taken in. Today I actually just felt a really calm presence. And so we would love to hear from you what your experience is with this. And I love it because it's something that you can easily do anywhere that you're at, and you can do it often, several times a day. When you find yourself getting all wound up or feeling tense or frustrated, just pause for 60 seconds and just breathe. Just breathe and bring yourself back to presence where you actually have the space of mind to make really good decisions instead of ones that are made out of frustration and high emotions and
reaction.
I was going to say, Leah, what is your experience with the breathing today?
I like you, I get like amped up. I'm excitable. I have lots of energy. And I find when we take that minute to just breathe, calm everything down, it just helps me recenter and just be here and not in the 20 million other thoughts that are floating through my head. So,
right. or all the like other things we were talking about before we get on here, and we're usually in creation mode, or we're in like working through just shizzle mode, and that it's exciting, but it can take us away from being present. So I love the space where we can just lean into the energy and then just let, like I say, let inspiration be the guide, and magic happens. So today we want to share with you, speaking of magic, some of the magic that's been taking place in the Righteous Rebels. Those of you who maybe are unfamiliar with the Righteous Rebels, it's a concept that I've had in my mind for a long time, and I've played around with little pieces here and a little piece there, and I've put different platforms of it together, and never really saw it come to fruition. And in October, I had the opportunity to go to India, and while in India, I met Leah. We were there with a group. We were speaking in India, and we met incredible people. We met lots of incredible people. And it was this big shift, for me anyway. It was this big shift in my world where I just did this big, bold, audacious thing, and I invested a lot of stuff in myself, money and time, and I just took the big leap, and it has paid off in dividends. Maybe not exactly in financial dividends, but in the dividends of having really beautiful connections, seeing how other people think, how they work and manage through their worlds, and also meeting Leah and getting to know her and saying, oh my gosh, I think she's probably a really great fit for Righteous Rebels, because I knew that the concept and the things that I want to create with this amazing community are far bigger than me, and that they would take more than one brain and one heart and one mind. And I'm so grateful to have Leah be a part of that. And so as we got to know each other, I just extended an invitation that she very graciously accepted, and maybe a little hesitantly. Were you hesitant, Leah?
I think my experience of just we started with sharing about book creation, and then um, finding ways to because I could sense the muddle of all these ideas, and I recognize it because that's a lot of how I live in my head is a lot of different, like a gazillion ideas, but not always sure how to make them come through, or getting overwhelmed in like, but this person says I should do it that way, and maybe I should start here, and then you start running over here, and then it's like, oh yeah, but I was working on this, and it's like this ping pong effect. And it was really, it's so much easier to see someone else's process, especially when you recognize it
Mess.
in yourself, and then be like, hey, I have these tools that might help you and might break it down in a way that feels more consumable and not so overwhelming. And I think that started with the book, and that's you had expressed the want to make cards, it was. And then you shared the cards with me, and then we're like, well, what if we took these cards and made them into a book, and that would help give you some structure for your book. And it was this really neat thing of Jen would tell me something, and like, oh, that cool graphic should be a t-shirt, and then I'd be like, go into t-shirt making mode. And it was just such it inspired a lot in me. It wasn't a hesitancy. It was more like, it was exciting because all these things, all these images were starting to filter through, and it was so exciting to see how what I was putting out, Jen recognized it. She's like, that right there, yeah, I like that, or let's keep going with that, or what if we did it this way? And it segued into a beautiful way of creating, you know, whether it's expanding on the logo or the Facebook page, or that was just making that shift was interesting.
That was her very kind way of saying Jen didn't want to let go of what she'd already created.
It wasn't let go. It's that you kept saying you wanted to change it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it was that little.
And in making those shifts, though, sometimes, it's a challenge sometimes to make those shifts because we put so much time and energy into it. And even though we know it's like the right thing to do or the right direction to be moving, it can still be challenging. And so when I'm making those changes on Facebook and I'm like, she's guiding me through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit send, I'm gonna hit click, the change is made. But part of that was like just not being totally like up on tech stuff and wanting to do it right, and just all of the things that punch the still perfectionistic pieces in me. So it's been really great to have Leah on board, and to, like she said, I say something and she shows it back to me in a picture, and not just any picture, it's like freaking amazing picture. And it just has been fun because then we can take these talents and skills and abilities that we have, and in collaboration show them to you in ways that are like super fun. We think they're super fun, and I'm pretty sure you do too. And we would love to hear it in the comments. No, we're excited. We're excited. We actually are really appreciating the feedback that we're receiving from you. And we're just going to say, keep it coming. We still want to know what's something that you want to learn about. What's something you want to see from us? What's something that would benefit you where you're at in your lived experience? And how are you feeling right now? Are you doing the whole like living dead, walking zombie kind of life, or are you, how can we assist you in feeling more alive that way?
And I just want to take a quick minute to just shout out to everyone that's been participating and sharing their stories in the Facebook group. And
yes, especially the art gallery.
Oh yeah, God. That's been super fun to see different forms of art. Like, it doesn't have to be a painting. Like, we've seen someone do, I can't remember what it's called, but she shared her TikTok about the sound.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was so
freaking
cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. Someone had knitted or crocheted a llama stuffy or something. Like, it was just amazing. And I love seeing everyone's art coming through there, or just even just sharing a story, the heart tree story comes to mind. Like
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that was such a
Yeah.
beautiful story. And if you didn't get that, I think it was in share a memory that, or share a picture of something that means something to you. And we got this beautiful story of a mother and daughter who saw this tree and the leaves were shaped like a heart. And every time they passed it, they would say, "I love you." And then she made it into a canvas, and she left it for the people who bought their house, and hopefully that tradition continues. And it was just such a beautiful story. And those are the pieces that we love hearing in the community. So thank you so much, and we invite you to continue sharing.
Yeah, and if you're not a part of the community, then head on over to the Righteous Rebels on Facebook, the Righteous Rebels on Facebook, and click the join button. And we would love to have you be part of one of the rebels in our amazing community. I'm just going to say, you'll find lots of amazing stuff there. I'm not afraid to say that. Like, you're going to find amazing stuff there. And again, have a place to share your thoughts on, like, what's some things that would be helpful to you. So speaking of that, as part of what we're going to share with you today is our creation of our events. And a little bit of background of that is, I probably like 12 or 13 years ago, like, I just love to be outside. And I had kind of started into running again, and really had some amazing experiences where I learned how to come into myself, where I learned how to hear my own voice, and I could feel and hear my heart beating, and the things that were being said, because I chose to run without music. And it wasn't just any running, it was running long distance in the mountains. And then I started taking these trips with a group called Race to Adventure. Amazing group. I would highly recommend them. They don't pay me to promote them, but I love what they do. And I started studying. What Merritt does, and how he is as a person, and how he is in this group. And I've put together various events and have traveled to many countries at this point, and have really noticed the difference that it has made in my lived experience, and how I show up for myself, and how I show up in the world, and how I've learned how I can do challenging things. I can do scary things. I can do really, really fun things, and then have a way to bring that back into my lived experience and apply all of that amazing stuff into my everyday living. And I noticed, like, how alive I felt, and how there's just this, like, it whets your mouth and your appetite for more actual lived experience, and being around people who have the energy of actually living, of knowing the value of taking a chance, and stepping into a risk, and to be able to, like, risk looking silly or looking dumb, and because they know the value that it's going to provide them in wisdom, in freedom, in health, in just like overall happiness and joy, feeling alive. And so that said, this is something that I have wanted to create for you for a long time. And I've done it on small scale here and there. And I love the teaching aspect of it, the experiential teaching aspect of it. I love the speaking. If you need a speaker, we're for hire, by the way. Workshop for your company or your like group, we're for hire. That's actually one thing that traveling and whatnot has taught me too, is that we can unashamedly promote ourselves. and you're going to see us do that. And if you're not okay with it, that's okay. And if you are, then ask us why, or come and join us. So with that said, that's kind of how this whole Tobermory event came about that we're going to share with you. And then the bigger events that we've created for those of you who are recognizing that you might not just be living in a way that feels alive. And
so, like, kind of like a zombie?
Kind of like a zombie.
So what does that even mean, Jen? Like, what is a zombie to you? If you were to describe a zombie, what would that look like?
Green,
Always
torn
green.
clothing. No,
Maybe pale. Maybe
pale.
pale.
Yeah,
Disheveled. Maybe.
totally disheveled. Yes, like
Right?
unable,
Are they
unable to find.
energized?
Yes, keep talking. You're doing a great job of
Right?
describing
Like,
this.
I mean, when they communicate, how does that come across? Do you
Muddled,
right? Like they're not getting their point across, so they're probably not getting their needs met, which is like a solid brain that they need to have.
right?
Do you think they're focused?
No, not at all.
No, they're probably easily distracted, trying to do a million things at
Actually,
once
you
and
know
not
what?
anything.
They might be focused, but they might be focused on the things that bring them more of the things they don't really want. More of
Right?
the like lower energy, low vibe kind of that they're trying to get out of anyway, you know? And I know that's what it
And
feels
maybe
like.
they're like, "Ugh," and like to me, that's like moaning, groaning, complaining,
Yes.
wet sock kind of living.
Kind of hopeless. Like, how do I wet sock kind of live?
I
What in the world?
don't know. I hate wet socks. Don't you? Like,
Oh,
that ruins my day. I have like nice toasty feet, and
here
then like I
is
step in a puddle because some kid
that's
dropped some water somewhere and didn't bother to clean it up, and then I got a wet sock. That makes
that
me
is
grumpy.
gross. Unless you're out running on a trail and you're running through a stream and a creek, and you know what? Then wet socks are amazing.
Oh, okay.
Amazing. And maybe we'll create some of those events for you too. Or give you those opportunities to try out those wet socks. That was really funny. What socks living. Yes. So in that thread of like, do you feel like that? Like, do you feel like that? I know at some point we all have, and or we all will. Yeah. I myself felt like that for several years in like the recent past, just with all the stuff going on and wondering how all of these dreams and visions in my head were going to actually come to fruition, and just all the emotion. I just felt worn down. I kind of started feeling not completely hopeless, but there was a hopeless feeling or sense that was lingering, that dark cloud that just wants to rain on you all the time. And I love rain and I love clouds, but dang, when they last forever, or it feels like they're going to last forever, that's not a very fun feeling. So with that said, we created our Tobermory event. Yes.
But hold on. To that point is we can carry that, and a lot of us do carry those feelings, but we don't show them because we want to be the thing for everyone else. We want to be the example. We want to show that like no matter what's going on, we can rise to the occasion. We can smile. We can be energetic. We can still find places for play, but there's like a heaviness attached to that because we're still acting, but it's not. We want it to be real,
Right.
and we know energy is generated, but at the
It's The
same
Walking
time,
Dead,
it feels heavy. Yeah,
I
exactly. So it's
I would dare say that what you're saying, I was living. Like, they're probably the majority of the people in my world who didn't know that I was at where I was at. Some might have, because I spoke some things and they're like, oh, it's not really quite like you. Like, you don't really have that vibe usually. So,
yeah.
and there were a few who were aware enough to catch on, but I would dare say I was able to keep a good enough appearance that most probably didn't even know. And I would say that the person listening to us today, thank you, person listening to us, that they probably have an understanding of that as well.
I just want to say thank you to Megan. This is Megan just sharing about the feeling of being perfect in trying art. But when she did, she found it relaxing and therapeutic. I hope you're still doing some art, Megan. And she just shared that she actually just came out of a zombie phase, and it was like a light turned on when she came out of it. But I mean, like, how does it feel? Like, you just never know when that light's going to go on, right?
Okay.
Like,
so you just sparked that. Like, coming out of zombie mode is this feeling of like your whole world waking up and like you're coming home. It's like that that coming home where, you know, you walk in a door and you smell grandma's cookies or yummy dinner on the stove. And it's just that like homey feeling and just that sense of like just warm fuzzies everywhere. Like that's it's this excitement and energy that just buzzes through you. And it can be unnerving, honestly, when you're unaccustomed to it or you haven't felt it for a long time. So just be aware of that and we can help you through that. Leah, start us off with Tobermory? How did Tobermory come about?
Relief when you come out. Yes. I am curious, Megan, like what was that thing that helped you come out if you're comfortable of sharing? If you're comfortable sharing, what was something that helped you come out of that zombie phase, like that helped you feel more alive again? And while you're thinking about that, if you want to share, I just wonder what's something that helped you, Jen. I know in my own zombie phase, exercise is always something that helps. It's something that when I'm in zombie phase, that is a lot harder for me to do. It's something I avoid. It's something that just feels a lot more effort to do. And I know when I decide to take some space up and go out for a hike all on my own and go do that thing, just how much more alive I felt in that process. And when I came back and I just felt so rejuvenated. Like what would be something that helps you when you're feeling kind of zombie-ish and sluggish and like that?
Yeah. So exercise is one of those things. And it is one of those things that I noticed kind of started taking a back seat. My Tuesday adventures. So I play on Tuesdays. I take time every Tuesday and I block the day out for myself to do whatever I want to do. And I go adventure. And a lot of times I'll go to the mountains because that's refreshing for me. It's a place where I can disconnect from all of the hoo-ha that goes on in everyday living. Hoo-ha. And, and I have this opportunity to, if I choose to do it, to just reconnect. We don't have time for all of that.
I'm sorry.
Reconnect with myself.
Hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Like I've never even. For real. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's almost like wet sock living. So being outside, just like watching nature do its thing, the breeze in the trees and the water moving, you know, down a stream or a river, or watching fish jump, or hearing like crickets sing or frogs croaking. Like all of that is so exciting. Now I will tell you, when I run into a spider, that is not exciting for me. Or when I'm running and I look down and I think it's a stick and it's actually a snake. It is so hot right now. And those things are a little less exciting because they're right under me. But if I can watch them from a distance, I can actually appreciate them. Seriously.
Do not send Jen a picture of a spider enlarged. Do not.
You know what you just invited everybody to do. Thanks a lot. Friends, if you are any kind of friend at all, please do not. Well, like listening to good music. It's as if I said sprinkles. Listening to good music.
Go on.
Reading good books. Just taking time to make sure that I'm nourishing myself in really high vibe kind of ways, making sure that I've got people in my sphere that can help raise my energy by way of actually listening and caring, and versus wanting to just take. And you know, some of that take stuff is my own issue because I care about people, and sometimes I forget to set boundaries, and I give more than I probably have in some moments. And that's what I love about all of this, is it's just learning and getting to learn it together.
So Megan shared she realized she needed to do yoga and meditation with real intent to help her come out of her dark place. Thank you so much, Megan, for sharing. So honestly, knowing that this is a safe place, and if you want to share something that helps you get through your dark spaces, we invite you to put it in the comments, because you never know who could be reading those comments and how it can help them. So
yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because I'm a full-on believer in that when we can live real and honest, we open the door for other people to do the same, and we really just never know who we're assisting. In fact, you know what? Quick example of that. I got to go to a funeral on Monday for an aunt who's older, and I haven't seen her kids in a long time, especially one in particular, because she lives in like Oklahoma. And you know, as we shared a really just yummy, beautiful hug, she whispered in my ear how grateful she was for me and my lived experience. And she said, "You've helped me in ways that you probably never even knew." And I'll tell you what, it brought tears. And let's be real, tears come easy for me. I'm a big filler, but it was tears like from a really deep place of just knowing that by sharing my lived experience in as real a way as I can share it, and it being as honest, that someone else found value and they were able to assist their own kids and their own, like, put more depth and meaning to their own lived experience and find ways to be kinder, gentler, more loving with the people that are in their sphere. And so, yes, please share. Please share. We know it's scary. We want to just validate that for you. We know it can feel scary, but you just never know. You just never know.
absolutely.
Woo! Okay.
Should we go back into the box breathing and recenter again? Or I could put on this awesome mask that we made while we were away.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, this was a really
First
cool.
of all, where did we make it?
We made this out in Tobermory. This one is actually yours, Jen. And so I think this is your exercise, but I wanted to share it. And on the outside, it has words like too small, will I be blessed, liar, fake, obedient, failure, take too much responsibility, awkward, not lovable, terrified.
You don't have to read them all.
So all these words of how sometimes we can look at ourselves, how we show up in the world, and how, you know, those feelings that we feel. Like sometimes I feel alone. Sometimes it feels like things that I want are just so out of reach and I can't, and all the ways that we limit ourselves. And tell us about the inside piece.
The inside piece? I'm like,
yeah. So why did we paint the inside?
Well, typically when I do this exercise, I do it in a very different way. But on the inside, you know, when we take off our masks, we actually have an opportunity to share like our real selves, our true colors. We get to share our heart, and we get to share the music that's inside of us. And, you know, therefore I painted that the way that I painted it, because it's a gift to ourselves to see all of these things and to find the truth of what's written on the outside of the mask, like take it off and actually find the truth of that, and to stand in those places and to live from those places. Again, it brings you alive. It takes you out of the zombie mode of what's on the outside of that mask. And, you know, I'm one who just, I don't want to die with my music inside me or my words left unsaid. And there's plenty of both. And so that was part of what we did in Tobermory, as there is a bigger lesson in that in our course of how to love yourself so much nobody else has to. It's coming. Yeah, tell us about yours.
It was just this one was more about showing creative flair. I used to have a lot of maybe angst, maybe just not feeling good enough to share, or like who's going to care, or
right.
Yeah, just all those feels that come with embracing your creativity and really showing, because it's very much a part of you. And I think the biggest lesson in being a creative is just being not attaching to what you make, but knowing that in that moment it's a reflection of what you're seeing and what's coming through you. I really love the idea that when we tap into creativity, it's not something that's coming within us. It's something we tap into that works through us if we allow it. And it takes that pressure off the creator, that it's not you, but it's something that's worked through you.
Well, and you were saying like the creative piece, and the reality is we're all creatives. We're born creatives, and it's that piece that you just said is recognizing that we're a conduit. It's not us. We're the conduit for that inspiration and all of the yumminess that comes through us. And it's so easy to attach to that. Like in my world, it has been so easy to attach to that. And I think part of that I was taught, and I've had to unlearn and unravel and unwind some of those things to recognize that I just, I have some gifts and they move through me. And when I can just share the gift without having to have any kind of applause afterwards or approval of how good that thing is so that I can be good, like life is so much sweeter and is so much more fun. And it makes it all the yummier and easier to just keep creating in whatever ways you create, which we're all creating every day because we create our lives. Just side note.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the main note.
Maybe how are we creating our lives? What choices are we making that are creating the outcomes of our lives?
Yeah. So, should we talk about Tobermory for a second? What we got coming on in June and August?
Shall we talk about Tobermory first and then talk about that? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm like, did I say that weird?
I think I heard it weird. Yeah, absolutely. So Tobermory is up on the northern, it's in Ontario, Canada, and it's a peninsula on the James Bay. And it's just this beautiful little town of, aqua turquoise water. I had been there.
Incredible.
Yeah. We're breaking up and frozen.
I did see on the Facebook that it's a couple times it said it's waiting for the.
It seems up now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan, for letting us know. It looks okay now. But it's in Ontario. The water is amazing. We'll have to share some pictures of that. I think you have with Bunny and in a few places, but it's just an incredible place. It's tucked away. It's just tucked away. But it's become a lot more popular in the last few years. And so when I've gone, we go off peak season, and I've never been in the winter. So it was a great opportunity to see what it was like in the winter. I've been following some groups in that to see what that experience has been like. And we thought, like, why not go somewhere beautiful and breathtaking and go create some stuff. So,
and someone asked me that, like, why did you do this in winter? Well, and there's a magic that comes along with winter. And there's also a magic in knowing that you can do things in winter. Like, you don't have to stop your summer activities. You can actually do a lot of those things in the winter and still have it be this like beautiful, fulfilling, amazing experience with a twist. And sometimes even more fulfilling because you recognize that you stepped out of a comfort zone or you stretched it really big and you experience, like, you don't get to see amazing ice formations and snow caps on rocks in the winter, or the water move behind an icicle and drip behind it, or drip off the edge, just and sit and watch that.
Or the fingers.
Or right. incredible water and walk along a shoreline with all of these big rounded boulders where every one of them has this beautiful snow cap on it, and there's ice and there's puddles and it's uneven, and you're making way through it, this adventure to get to the place that you're going to. And then when you get there, you're just like, the amazingness never stops, and your heart is like in this awesome, like always expanding, like, oh my gosh, what's the next new incredible thing that I'm going to get to see? And that was my experience in Tobermory. Is everywhere we went to explore on what we wanted to show you when we take you was just like, oh, I don't think I took enough pictures. And I took 1,000 pictures, literally 1,000 pictures. And to be able to capture it in a way that you can like be in that like, oh, moment, just the cameras just don't do it justice. But I think we came close, and we will share some of those things with you in a post later. But the bigger parts are that I can't wait, like that I experience for myself, is who I become or who I allow myself to become in those moments. And those are the pieces that I cannot wait to share with you, whether you join us in Tobermory or you join us in June for our Travel to Greatness, or you join us in August for our 6-day river trip. It's this opportunity to look so at yourself so differently, and to recognize all of these things that have just been waiting, like the mask, they've just been waiting for you to take the damn thing off and be recognized, so that you can actually live in a way that's just like, I actually, as I'm saying, I can feel myself like want to explode. The expansion that comes from that, in you getting to see more of who you are and how you've been showing up in the world versus how you can show up in the world, and what you can create when you're in this space of actually seeing yourself, seeing the amazing blue waters and just the expansiveness of the lakes that we were on. And it was windy, so there were white caps everywhere. And oh my gosh, it was so incredible. The waterfalls that we can't wait to take you to, so that you can experience too. And just the learning and growth for myself. Like I can't say enough or be excited enough to like be like, get on board for next year, but first get on board for June or August. Okay, I've talked a lot. How about you, Leah?
I don't know what to say after all of that. Damn. I think the trail that I really enjoyed was the one when we were going to find the caves, but then they had the razor wire and they were closed, so we didn't end up doing that adventure.
Right, we had to pivot and flow.
Yeah, pivot and flow. And we found another trail at the Lionhead Trail, and there was like a lookout and stuff. And I really love that trail. Just
by trail, we mean snow, completely snow covered.
Yeah. And I loved how winding that trail was. Like you were climbing up, you were climbing over, and it was just such a winding, meandering trail. And it just felt like, it felt calm for me, because that's how sometimes like I want to wander through my mind, is like, oh, what's that? Because I think that's the beauty of nature is that you're not on a highway. You're not racing around to do all the things. You're just there. And the whole point is just to wander and meander, and it just slows everything down. So you can actually think, so you can actually feel, so you can actually express self in a way that makes sense, and just
eat snacks.
And eat snacks. Yes, eat snacks.
Refuel as you're discovering these things that Leah's talking about.
Yeah. I think in that one we found the giants.
Yes.
The giant's pothole or something. The giant's, I can't remember the name of it now. But
big rounded out rock, like the hole open up, top of it was open, but there was a hole in it, so you could actually go inside and look. Like, it was so cool.
It was cool. And then we went up to the lookout point. But first you had to go through like this beautiful forest, and there was so much moss, like, and it was so soft. Like I was so fascinated with just how the moss felt, even though it was like winter and it's cold and there's some parts that are snowy. It was just so green and lush and just beautiful.
And again, like what you're talking about is that like coming alive to your own senses again.
Yes.
Like the little kid in me, I know I watched Leah do it too, but in myself, I'm like, I want to touch that. I want to get close and personal, and I want to see what it looks like. And I may have wondered what it tastes like, but I didn't eat it. I didn't taste it, but all of the senses like want to come alive as you're talking about that. I'm like, yes, that feeling.
Well, and you just notice things differently. Like I really appreciate how we would, share the things that we're noticing, like whether it's how I think it was the sound of this, or do you hear how how it sounds differently here, or do you see how it looks like soap bubble ripples, like or how it sparkles in the water, or like just drawing your attention to stuff that you normally just glaze over. And it just reminds me of a time where I was really in a zoom in phase of photography where I wanted to see everything close up because it just looks so fascinating. And
I'm still there.
That's what that, yeah. Oh, for sure. Like it's just seeing things through a different lens, and having it just brings you to such a different point of appreciation where you just don't see it the same, because all of a sudden it just seems magical that you're in this space to begin with. And it's incredible. It's an incredible feeling. Like,
well, and here's the piece that you were willing to love yourself enough and believe in yourself enough to create the space to put yourself in those places where you can feel those things that you don't get to feel probably in your everyday lived experience, which then the monotony and the minutia and I'm trying to come up with other big words, they're not coming, just everyday living can get boring. It feels like Groundhog Day. And
I think that the other part of it too is like we get so caught up in living in one space, in one role, in one way of living.
Yes.
To remove yourself from that space and dump yourself somewhere else where it's like, it's not, you're comfortable. You have to rearrange what comfort is going to look like for you, and adjust those expectations of, if I can't get to this, how am I going to do that? Like, it's just like how you function has to shift because
with
you're
one windshield wiper.
Yes. One windshield wiper. That was amazing. That was amazing.
So I love that you're bringing that piece out of just like, we can go with a plan, but knowing that, especially like how this works in leadership and in just life in general, of one, doing more with less, and then being creative, getting the opportunity to be creative with what you see around you and working with what's around you to solve issues, whether it's a personal issue or it's a work issue or it's a family issue. There's always, I love how nature just so beautifully teaches us, like nature is our home. And this all this other stuff that we call home is just the other stuff. And so these opportunities to go in nature and learn the lessons that you're talking about, man, they're so beautiful. And we just got to give ourselves space to do them. We got to believe in ourselves enough to do them. And we've created a way. Shameless plug. We've created a way. Leah, have we said enough about Tobermory?
It's one of those things that you have to be there. Like, you just to take in, the coolness on your skin, and the way, you're standing over the cliff and looking out over the lookout spot and just feeling the wind move through you almost.
Literally.
Strong, right? Yeah, it really, like, it was powerful, and just like how small yet so big you feel, and how just how that feeling is within you. Like, you're just part of something so much bigger, but you are the bigger at the same time. It's that whole idea of oneness and connection, and just, you just feel when you're up on that cliff, like, I can freaking do anything. Like, I can literally just do anything. And,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
did
just,
have to pull her back because she thought she could fly, and
that's not true. That's not true. I knew my space. Mm-hmm.
So, you talked about the experience of zooming in, and then you also talked about seeing the whole thing. And that's another thing that I love about what I've experienced in playing and adventuring in nature, whether it's the mountains or it's the nature of another country, or just the adventure of traveling to another country, is this opportunity to, if you choose to zoom in and see all of the small things and things we don't normally give ourselves an opportunity to look at, and then to expand out and to see the whole, and you get to have both views on any adventure. And it is something that as you adventure with us, we will point out, we'll give you the opportunities and the direction to say, hey, like, zoom in here, or wow, now is a really great time to just step back and go, oh my gosh, wow, and see the expansiveness, and again, to feel your own smallness, but to feel your own, like, expansive, ginormous, amazing, beautiful selves. Man, that piece is just amazing. So
I think it's such a beautiful place to let ideas flow, because I, like, again, going back to the whole, all the demands, all the things you got to do, all the cultural stuff, like, it just gives you space to think, and just to allow to see what that flow is for you, and meet the needs that maybe you just don't even think to meet when you're in your busyness. I know, with my kids and my family and all this stuff, like, it's just go, go, go. And it's like putting out one fire after another some days. And, that's how it can feel at work, or when you're, working towards something, there's just, it seems like problem after problem after problem. But when you get in those spaces, it gives you a different perspective and a different appreciation for the journey that you're on, and you can make different decisions, and you can come from a place of, how can I respond to this, instead of feeling like I have to get the answer right away. I have to react. I have to do it right now. It just gives you some space to think, and follow some of those little ideas that you've had budding.
yeah, I agree. So you want to tell them what we got up in June?
Our Travel to Greatness is happening in June. We are we're hosting at Salmon Lodge. Is that what it's called?
Lodge. Salmon River Lodge.
River Lodge, yes. And we've had the opportunity to chat with Amy from there, and she has been fantastic. And we're just so excited. There's going to be different ways that we travel to greatness, and it makes me want to ask you, like, how do you travel to greatness? What does greatness mean to you? I mean, in making, in creating the materials for this trip, it really got us thinking about what greatness means. And I know in making the video part for it, I was putting it off. I was struggling with it. I really just didn't want to do it. And we were
which rarely happens, by the way.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, what's my sticking point here? Like, what's going on? And once Jen and I worked through, like, some wording and what greatness means to us and all that stuff. And then, early in the morning, I'm just trying to put some clips together and figure it out, because normally the story just kind of flows out. And I think, once we finally got it together, it was emotional for me. Like, it just stirred up a lot of emotion as to what greatness is to me. And, the whole idea is, like, are you going to listen? Are you going to listen? You know, and it poked a lot of feels for me. If you know my story or have read my book, it's, I really tried hard not to be here at one point in my life. And I think that video just really, making that video made me question in myself, am I going to heed that call? Am I going to rise to my own greatness and stop playing small and stop holding myself back because I'm scared, because, you know, I don't think I can, or all the things, all the things that, you know, I like to wear because it's comfortable and I know it. And it's really pushing out of those comfort zones. And are you going to listen? That's the question that just keeps rolling through my head right now. Like, are you going to listen? And I want to say yes. Like, I am saying yes. I'm here.
Well, and aren't you finding too that as we are, what I love about this creative process and bringing stuff to you is we're not perfect at this. Like, we're never going to tell you that we're perfect at this. That's not how life works. We're working on our own wholeness and want to assist you in working on your own wholeness, like shaking off the zombie and living alive in your wholeness. We're not asking you to be perfect. We're not going to pretend to be perfect. And we're going to fumble right along with you. And when you fall down, we're going to pick you up. We might sit on the ground with you for a minute, make sure you're okay, pick you up, dust you off, give you some snacks and say, let's go. Let's go. Let's continue moving forward. And, you know, we actually would expect the same in return. It's what we do with each other is, so, you know, we're not always on top of our game, and we talk things out, and we were like, okay, like, do you just need a kick in the butt, or do you need someone to sit here with you for a minute and say, what's going on? And so as we're putting these together, we're getting to have our own experiences. Like it is actually bringing out our own stuff as we're moving along and giving us more to share with you. And it's both exciting and the dates in June, the 7th through the 11th. 11th?
I thought it was 7-11. That's how I was remembering it.
Whatever the Sunday is, yeah, 7-11. I'm doing the math. Do you do the math? I'll finish my thought.
Okay.
Is that we're doing this along with you, and you know we've been on many of the paths, maybe not having the exact same experiences, but we have an understanding of what people get to go through and feel, and we want to create those ways that you can zoom in and figure out the little pieces and then zoom out and see like, oh my gosh, the magnificence of it. But we want to do it in ways that challenge you, that are fun, that you don't get to do, like in some of the most amazing places where not too many humans get to go. And you're going to get to horseback ride. You're going to get to be on a river. You're going to get to experience the trees and the mountains, and you're going to get to experience you out there that just was like, I don't know that I want to experience me. We want you. This is exactly what you need, and we have space for you. So that particular trip will we're hosting how many people, Leah?
That is 12.
Okay.
That 12 for 12.
And we will put in a link to the site where you can get the information. You're also welcome to reach out to us. Again, you can go to the Righteous Rebels page on Facebook and gather information there as well. And you also can find that same information for our event that's coming up in August that we're going to do with Kate Burke. You can find our live and unscripted with her pinned to the top of our Righteous Rebels page. That is full of some yummy nuggets, like almost a complete smorgasbord of them. You'll feast for days. And I'll tell you what, when you come with us on that trip, you're going to feast for days, 6 of them to be exact. And I can't wait to share that experience with you. It's going to stretch all of our comfort zones and make us bigger, better, brighter, more beautiful people. What do you have to say about that one, Leah?
I think I'm just really excited for that experience just because it's all geared around what leadership
I
means
say, what
to
are
us.
we calling it?
Yeah, surviving leadership, not
Wait,
surviving, but like rising your vibe, your vibration. Like what is your
what?
vibe, right? What what kind of vibe are you leading with, and how can we raise that vibe? How can we come from a place of having confidence in ourselves? And because all as a leader, all that trickles down to everyone that we interact with, and it's so important, because we're impacting people every day, whether we know it or not. So it's in leadership, it's not about numbers, it's not vanity metrics. What is leadership, Jen?
It's not a title. It's not something that you're gifted. It's not something that you aspire to. You're born with leadership. Every one of us is born with leadership. And that's how we're viewing it. And if you want to raise the vibe in your leadership, you have to raise the vibe in your life.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly the opportunity that we've created for you. There are going to be so many just freaking mind-blowing experiences inside of the experience of just being on the river for 6 days, floating and camping and eating and being with a group of people whose energy will blow your mind. And we have the spot for you. We're just waiting for you to click the button and sign up. So you know I'm hearing you say, like, why would I invest that much money? Because I'll tell you what, it's a fair amount. It's a fair amount for us to put the event on, because we've created it in such a way that it is just chock full of the awesome. And the thing that we would invite you to remember is that this isn't just an activity that you're going to go be a part of. This is an experience that you're investing in because you believe in you. And it's a week that will bleed into the rest of your life. You're going to hear us say that a lot. And thank you to Kate who gave us those words. This will change you.
Be the same. You
It
can't
will
come back.
change you. And we just want to put that warning out up front, is that you will not go home the same person that arrived on day one. And we're so looking forward to that.
And we do take that into account, and there is a transition phase to that. I know when I took that leap with India, and that was a big life-changing thing, whether it's not just the investment of money, but like of myself, and putting myself in an uncomfortable place, but how much I learned, and like how I went from this little fishbowl and then went out to the ocean, and I'm like, I can't come back to my fishbowl the same. Like you just never come back the same from those things. And that it's a fantastic thing, because you learn what you're actually capable of, and what's in you that's like just wanting to come out, but doesn't know how to come out in the current story that you're telling about yourself. So it gives you an opportunity to explore a different story of what you can show up as, and how you want to be.
I love it. And so when you sign up, just some other extra little nuggets of information is, when you sign up, we're going to guide you along the way. We're going to be with you beforehand. We're going to create the spaces where we can communicate. We're going to give some teaching along the way, so that when you get there, some of those initial nerves and like, I just did this thing, are comforted and quieted, because we'll have been with you all the way to the point up to there. And then we are going to guide you and instruct you on how to move out of this home experience and come back to the real world, and how to function inside of that, having had these life shifts that have taken place, and then also the way to stay in contact with the group of people who you will bond with, and if you so desire, to maintain those communications and continue that again past the actual experience. So, oh my gosh, we'll make sure that you have the links for that and how to sign up. If you have questions, please reach out. Like, do the bold, brave thing and reach out. Ask the questions. We've lived it. I've lived it. I love it. I want to build more of it for myself, but also for you. And this is how we've just begun. It's only just begun. I feel like I should break out in song, but I'm not going to. You guys can sing the song by yourself. We've only just begun. Final thoughts from you, Leah?
Someone's got questions.
It's Maggie.
It's Megan. I guess we'll have to reach out with Megan. Final thoughts is, I think it's not even final thoughts. I think it's more just sharing in those experiences. Like what I'd invite you to share an experience that has been life-changing for you. And, was it a trip? Was it a milestone that you reached? Was it a race that you ran? What was that life-changing experience for you?
I would want to hear what feels scary about this? What would hold you back from actually doing this? And I would love to hear some of the mind chatter that goes on when making this decision about actually signing up. Please share that as well, and let us assist you with that.
Love it. Well,
Sweet.
Shall we take them out, Jen?
Let's take them out. You guys, thanks for being with us. Again, we always know that life can be busy, and there's always plenty to do, and that you choose to share it with us means the world to us. And please share us out. Share us out. Help us get our message out. Assist us in spreading all the good news and bringing people to what we're doing. And then let us know how else we can assist you. We really appreciate who you are and what you bring to the world. So with that, be bold, be brave, be a rebel.
A rebel.
We'll see you soon.